There's a hunger and a desire to win, but there's also something that's very poised and calming about doing it at home with the people that you love and the people that you want to go to battle with every single day.
Hello and welcome into Inside Fever Basketball. I'm Pat Boylan, and we are thrilled to be joined by the next head coach of the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White. Stephanie, your roots in basketball are so deep as maybe anybody in the history of this state. Miss Basketball, national champion at Purdue, a player for the Fever, a coach for the Fever. So why is right now the right time for you to return to Indiana?
You know, I can't imagine the stars aligning any better. You know, certainly after having gone off and had a number of other experiences from a coaching standpoint, growing up, learning, the Fever going through some changes as well. And now at this point where basketball has taken to another level in the WNBA and for the Indiana Fever, and to be able to come back and work with another 22, a generational player in Caitlyn Clark, a generational player in Aaliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities, in the game of basketball, for the women's basketball culture and community. It's unprecedented. And to be able to work with those guys and Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core three, right? You think about a big three, and to be able to work with that big three, and continue to work and put pieces around them to compete for a championship, back in my home state, it couldn't have aligned any better.
I want to ask you about all those big three, but let's start here with Caitlyn and the opportunity and the inflection point that this league and this franchise is on right now. How excited are you? How would you describe the opportunity in front of you to get to coach a transcendent athlete like Caitlyn Clark?
Yeah, it's it's interesting because I've been able to see it from the sideline for so many years with her, and I will never forget calling a game at Maryland last year. And I was in the same hotel as them for the first time. And I came down the escalator, had to have been 3 hours before the game, maybe 3.5 hours before the game. And the lobby was full. The only other time I'd seen that was when I'm at an NBA or NFL event, right? And they're in the hotel lobby and it's just packed and it's roped off. And this was at Maryland. And 3.5 hours before the game, when I'm leaving to go over to do my commentating duties, the gym is 1.5 miles away. It took me 45 minutes to get there. It was nuts. It was insane. And, for the first time, calling her games on the road in a sold out environment and seeing the hoopla, I guess you could say Taylor Swift 2.0. It was like, this is the moment that we've reached. And this could be the first time that we've seen the carryover from college to the WNBA. Because there are a lot of basketball players in the WNBA who've played in sold out arenas in college. Like that's become a commonplace. But it had not transitioned and transferred from college fandom to WNBA fandom. And when the number one pick was called, the first game that she played and the consequentially many games since, you've seen it. And so to be able to be at this pivotal moment, is incredible. I really can't put it into words because when I coached that one, number 24 here, and we were starting this Indiana Fever franchise to now, this is what we've envisioned. And so to be able to be a part of it on this side and to help take it to another level, I'm incredibly excited and grateful.
You've never shied away from the spotlight, never shied away from the pressure as a player, as a coach, I assume as a broadcaster too, maybe not quite as much pressure, but this is going to come with a big spotlight. Have you thought about all of that here as you transition into this role?
I haven't thought about it too much. I think, I think a little bit about Joe Mazzulla when he talks about like, we get to do this, right? Like you get this opportunity as a player for Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Like this is what you've wanted, right? To be in a position to be not just considered some of the greatest athletes, but to position our game to have all eyes on it. And for me, I've learned as I've gotten older how to protect my peace, so to speak. I probably as a young coach would not have been equipped enough to be in these situations. I'm still a human being, so emotionally sometimes you get caught up in some things, but at the same time, I think I've grown so much. I'm very secure in what I bring to the table and who I am and the opportunity that presents itself. I get to do this. I don't have to do this, and I love to do this. So I think for me, in this moment, I'm just more excited about embracing this opportunity that we have to do some special things together.
You mentioned Aaliyah Boston, she and Caitlyn Clark, that duo. What are they capable of? And as you start to formulate how everything looks going forward here for the Indiana Fever, what does their path the next year, 3, 5 years look like in your vision? I
think they could go down as one of the premier duos in the history of women's basketball. We talk about a lot on the broadcasting side, especially, the scoring duos, right? Whether you're talking about, on the men's side, a Luka and a Kyrie, right? Or you're talking about on the women's side, a Diana and BG, right? So I think that they have an opportunity to go down as one of the premier scoring duos, in the history of the league. But I also think, because of the types of people that they are, and because of the types of leaders that they are and human beings that they are two people who impact community, impact franchises because of who they are, just as much as impacting the game of basketball because of the numbers that they put up on the floor. So I think we can see, a transcendent duo with those two. And I'm excited about working with them because I think they're really just scratching the surface in how they play with one another, certainly, but in the impact that they can make in the whole of a team because of the different ways that you can use them. So I'm excited to get creative. I'm excited about, talking to them about different things that they've seen, that they enjoy, different visions that they have for their game and for our team.
You've coached superstars. Alyssa Thomas as recently as a couple of months ago. Tamika Catchings, she's all over this wall, all over this building. Established players too. How much excitement in this opportunity is the ability to come in with a couple of future superstars who you can kind of help shape and mold here a little bit?
That's exciting. That has a different energy about it. It's when you come in with veteran players, sometimes they're kind of set in their ways a little bit. Tamika, I was fortunate to be a teammate of hers prior to coaching her. But there's no substitute for experience. I know I keep saying that, but young players, they don't know what they don't know. They haven't really been through it, and getting experience on the floor is one thing, but helping them navigate all of the nuance that comes with being, who they are in this city, in this franchise, in this league, and what it takes to get to the next level. It's not just throw the ball out with a bunch of great players and play. It just doesn't work like that. We'd see a number of champions if it was like that. It's about timing. It's about experience. It's about adjustments. It's about staying healthy. There's so many things that have to line up. That's why you don't see many dynasties, right? There's so many things that have to line up to position yourself to win a championship and to try to help them navigate this. Having been a person who has been a player in this league, an assistant coach in this league, and a head coach in this league over the course of 25 years, right? To know that I have had this many experiences. It is a different time in the WNBA. There are different things to navigate, but having resources with myself and hopefully with my staff that have been able to navigate that can not just help them on the court, but hopefully help them off the court and just be a resource for them.
When you think back to your previous head coaching stint here, now you started in 2015 and then nearly won a championship. You're a game away. So you were ready and that team was ready. But when you talk about the experience you've gotten and how you've grown as a coach, how do you feel different now maybe than when you were taking over in 2015?
I feel more poised. I feel more confident. I feel more settled. I feel like I have a different perspective. I feel very comfortable in who I am as a coach and what I can bring to the table. I feel very, very comfortable in understanding that it takes the whole, leaning on and empowering, our assistant coaches, helping them prepare to be head coaches, leaning on and empowering our players, I've always been a two-way communicator, but they're out there on the floor. And every year I've been coaching, I'm further removed from being out there on the floor. So to hear their perspective, to have them tell me what they're seeing, and then to help them see my perspective. I had a coach tell me at one point, players fly at like 10,000 feet, and assistant coaches fly at like 25,000 feet, and head coaches have to fly at like 50,000 feet, right? So you got to see the whole, and just helping walk them through some of these things that may happen in May and June, but are going to be difference makers in September and October. And then continue to grow, continue to learn. I think the day that we're done learning is the day for me to hang it up. There's no doubt about it. Continue to become a better coach, continue to become a better communicator, to become a better strategizer, to become a better practice planner, and grow with our team in order to help us accomplish our ultimate goal, which is to win championships.
Typically, when a coach takes over, there's an adjustment period and some learning, and there will certainly be that. But you're joining a franchise that you've coached and played for before. You're working for Kelly Krauskopf, who has hired you before, who has helped navigate this team, she was the architect of the championship run. Lynn Dunn's an advisor. You've worked with her in many different capacities. And Amber's been all over the WNBA over the last couple of decades. I mean, how much does it help you to come into this situation and to have those people around you?
It helps a lot, and certainly it makes a decision easier. There's a comfort level. There's an understanding. We know how one another operates. We've all grown since then. We've all gotten better since then. We're all a little older and wiser. But at the same time, the expectation is the same, and it's clear. We want success for this franchise. We want success for one another. We lean on one another, and it's not going to be any different, than that. I think we take a lot of pride. Every single one of us takes a lot of pride in this organization and being a part of it from ground zero, to hanging that first banner, to seeing the ebbs and flows that naturally happen in sport and in professional sport, to helping this organization get back to the mountaintop. That's the ultimate goal for all of us before we decide to hang it up, right? So I think we have a common goal. I think our visions are aligned. I think the way we go about our work is aligned, and it's consistent. And you're going to have consistency, and you need consistency in order to put a team and a franchise in position to compete for championships year after year.
Knowing you've probably already started getting to work here. What do the next couple months look like for you? What are you hoping to accomplish?
I think first and foremost, getting our staff kind of on board, getting our staff settled, and continuing to, I've already been watching film and thinking about the different things that we want to do offensively and defensively, having conversations with players. I've spoken to certainly those three. When you think about Aaliyah and Lexi and Caitlyn, I've spoken to them. I've reached out to the players that are overseas and trying to connect with times to speak with them as well, and start putting some pieces together of what we're going to look like on both ends of the floor. And a lot of things can change between now and free agency. So talking about what types of players fit into our system and where we want to go and what we want to do and how we want to play. And most importantly, what players fit into our culture. I always enjoyed watching this team and how much they played for one another, the joy that they had while they were playing. And that is one of the most important things in a quest for a championship. I wholeheartedly believe connected teams are winning teams, having and finding joy in the day-to-day, in the mundane. These games, when you talk about championship levels, are won and lost in the margins. And so we've got to be great in the margins. We've got to grow in those areas. And I feel like every day we're going to get better in that area. And then one day we're going to put ourselves in position to play for a championship.
You have helped raise banners in this building. You've played in front of sold-out crowds. You've coached in front of sold-out crowds in WNBA finals. You're going to be coming back here to sold-out crowds. And you see that photo of you playing with the number 22 and Caitlyn with the number 20. Doesn't all this just feel so fitting?
It sure does. I mean, it feels like it was meant to be. It feels like it was meant to be in a time, in life. I've lived a lot of life since the last time I was here. Certainly when this job came about, I've been going through some personal stuff too. So, a time in life where it's like you feel like things align. I feel like that right now. It's like, could it be that, that this is actually a possibility? Could it be that you feel grounded, that you feel centered, that you feel home? And when it did come to fruition, it was just, an amazing feeling. There's a hunger and a desire to compete. There's a hunger and a desire to win. But there's also something that's very poised and calming about doing it at home with the people that you love and the people that you want to go to battle with every single day. And, I'm thankful that I get to do that.
New Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White. She is back in Indiana. Coach, welcome back.
Thanks, Pat.